Having a dispatch while wrapped up at the Taylor house. What do you have for us, over?
We have an emergency, code 16, over.
Code 16, malfunctioning smoke detector.
Earplugs, Jane? How bad could it be?
This is malarkey.
That's why I called you guys.
It's a defective detector.
Oh, thanks. I got it in Santa Fe.
Pete was right. The detectors were defective.
Oh, it's calm again.
It's important to check your smoke detectors regularly.
A broken detector won't protect you. I'm still yelling, aren't I?
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
We're gonna win the day, people! Sarah, turkey on week. Dan, Maddie, can you fix a bad outlet?
Yep.
Honey, presentation about a broken light. On it. Busted ceiling fan.
We'll take care of it.
Great. Jerry, you're on mute.
All set?
Wow, you guys really do everything.
Oh, everything electrical.
Yeah, but you actually do everything.
Aw, thanks.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
I foresaw problems with my electricity.
With our preventative maintenance checkup, you can make small changes now to prevent big problems in the future.
You probably already knew that.
I did.
She did. All set, your home's electrical future looks bright.
As was foretold by Esmeralda, the Enlightened.
And Maddie, the powerful.
And Dan.
The?
Just Dan.
Yeah.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Me, Hal Straup and me decided that we wanted to save the depot. Well, it's a big part of history.
Well, I think the railroad was actually basically the upbringing of Cherryville. During the Civil War, this was actually the terminus of the Carolina Central Railroad, because they didn't have enough steel to build all the way down to Rutherfordton.
I told my wife I always wanted to have a model railroad layout. Cherryville had a model railroad club. I went up to the meeting, and I've been coming here twice a week for the last 25 years.
What's on the docket?
Code 12, flickering lights.
What if it's a ghost this time?
It's never a ghost, Pete.
Greetings and salutations. Thank you for coming. Please enter.
Definitely a ghost.
I've seen malarkey like this before. Classic bad wiring. By the book.
We got this. Excellent.
All set?
Oh, so much better. Thank you.
See, Pete, no ghosts.
Oh, no, this place is totally haunted.
See, Jane?
There must be a draft in here. I guess maybe Pete was right for once.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
We got a bogey.
Man, I'm trying to cook your food.
Hey, Bob, what you doing? Oh, hey, there's a little home security.
Your new smart home system is installed. Security lights, cameras, and sensors all accessible on your phone.
Awesome. Going dark.
Please bring me love.
He likes to do it all himself, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's Bob Malarkey.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
What do we got?
Code 94, circuit breaker.
Let's break it down.
Susie's got dance recital, Kevin has midterms, Dan's trying to watch the game, and I'm just trying to make dinner. Kevin!
Flip's a breaker!
We should take a look at that breaker.
Relieved of duty.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Quite often there are people they're still here. They're living in tents, but they're still home, what they call home.
Next up.
Code 99, smart home installation.
Ooh, a smart home. Think what smart homes can do in the future. Like take out the trash, put the kids to bed, or walk your dog for you.
Not how it works, Pete.
These smart home instructions read like malarkey to me.
Don't worry, we'll take care of it. All set? Want to give it a try?
Smart home, lights off.
Lights off.
Smart home, lights on.
Lights on.
Oh, perfect.
May I try?
Be my guest.
Smart home, walk the dog.
Walk the dog.
Pete, I told you it doesn't work.
The future is here. You're such a smart home. Aren't you, smart home? Such a good boy.
Feed me, please.
Give him a treat, Jane.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Hi, I'm Rusty Wise with Mr. Sparky by Wise Electric Control. Did you know we cover the entire Charlotte market?
Our Mr. Sparky electricians are everywhere to serve you from Cherryville, Kings Mountain, Gastonia to downtown Charlotte. We are your local electrician to call when you have any home or business electrical issues. If you're a Panthers fan, Knights fan, or Hornets fan, Mr. Sparky is here for you.
No more malarkey. Call Mr. Sparky.
Hey, neighbor, you got an EV?
Yep.
Me.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our regular City Council meeting for the month of March. It's my pleasure to open this meeting and certainly welcome the nice crowd we have here with us this evening. And if you would, please stand with me for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. It's my pleasure to introduce and welcome Pastor Bob Holtzclaw of the Cherryville Christian Fellowship Church here in Cherryville. And Pastor Holtzclaw, thank you for being here, and we appreciate what you, your church, your congregation does for our community, all the churches and all the pastors, what you do for our community, and thank you for being here this evening.
Thank you, Mayor. Let us pray. Father, we come to the throne of grace and mercy, and we come first and foremost to thank you and to praise you and to honor and glorify you for all that you do in our lives, in our hearts, in our homes, in our families, the work that you're doing here in this city. And we thank you for this place that we live, this city of Cherryville, and the blessings that you bestowed upon it. Lord, we've been here for many years, and you blessed us and helped us and kept us by your grace, and we thank you for that. We pray and ask, dear God, for the city council meeting and the city council that stands before us. We pray and ask for your wisdom, for your guidance and grace, as we know there's many decisions they have to make concerning the good citizens of this town, and we ask you to bless them and give them wisdom and favor. We pray not only for today's blessings, but we pray for future blessings for our city. We pray for your protection. We pray for the police and the firemen and EMS workers and all that keep us safe and minister to us as citizens of this city. We thank you for them as well. We ask you to supply and provide every need for our city that we can prosper. We pray for every citizen here, and we ask your blessing upon them and your divine protection about this city that we call home. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I would like to say we want to keep Council Member John Abernathy in our thoughts and prayers. He has a problem with his knee that he just discovered, and it just happened. So he was not being indignant by not standing for the invocation or the Pledge of Allegiance.
I just can't.
You just can't. We will proceed now, and we now have time for our Cherryville news, and I'll begin that topic with a few items that I want to bring to everyone's attention and discuss. And before we begin actual Cherryville news, I'd just like to say that I'm sorry that I was not able to be at our last work session meeting. Missing meetings is something that very much drives me crazy, and I do hate to meet them, but as some of you or most of you know, there was a personal family matter that kept me from being here. And without getting into those details, I would certainly say I appreciate the many thoughts, concerns, and prayers that have been sent to me and my family these past couple weeks. And I certainly appreciate council proceeding and doing the work that we are charged to do in my absence, and they did that very capably. I would also like to thank Councilmember Hovis for leading that meeting as Mayor Pro Tem. And she did such a good job that I was afraid to walk in tonight and she might be in the big chair. Nameplates might be changed or something when I got here. But I'm also very appreciative of staff, especially Brian and Mary Beth, covering some office matters in my absence. And I will say this, and we hear it often, all too often we take it way, way too much for granted. But I would encourage everyone, live and enjoy every breath you have on this earth, and thank the good Lord above for every breath that you take and every blessing that we have, because we are not promised tomorrow. We're not promised tomorrow. Thank you. And speaking of missing that meeting, again, council did a great job of handling things, and so good a job that they just opened a checkbook and started buying buildings all over town. But seriously, I did want to clarify that from day one, the possibility of the city obtaining that building, I was very much on board with and in favor of. Any expenditure, any capital outlay, especially one that is $1.3 million, should be taken very seriously and deserves a lot of study and consideration. But I think it was an incredible value and a prudent decision that will serve the city very well into the future. So I want to thank council again for acting wisely and swiftly on that. Thanks to staff for doing the legwork and bringing that to fruition. And congratulations to Chief Hunsucker and the police department for being able to realize and appreciate the value and the results of that purchase. There are also some well-deserved congratulations to go around. Publicly, on behalf of this council, we'd like to congratulate Chief Colby Hefner on his promotion and for the removal of the interim title from his title. And we appreciate Chief Hefner's work at the fire department over these past years, and we look forward to his continued good work for years to come. Again, while I was away, I hate that I missed the Cherryville Chamber of Commerce annual dinner and meeting. I always enjoy going to that event. Congratulations to Emily Dellinger and all the folks that work hard to put that on each year. Special congratulations to former Mayor H.L. Beam, who received the Chamber Member of the Year Award. Scott Harrell received the Citizen of the Year Award. And congratulations to Incandescence Medical and Aesthetics being named the Chamber Business of the Year. And one surprise presentation this year was a joint proclamation from the city and the Chamber in appreciation of our own Mary Beth Tackett for her many years of dedicated service to our city and our business community through her work at the Chamber. And no, Pete, you can't have her back. We've got her at the city now. So we appreciate that. And is Lance Hudson present this evening?
He was not able to make it.
Not able to make it. Well, I was going to brag on him a little bit.
So. I told him I figured you would. So.
I was going to congratulate Lance and the Cherryville Recreation Department on the fine work they're doing. He's always telling me that all of his hard work goes unnoticed, but I wanted to point him out in particular tonight. But no, we were talking, Brian and Lance and I, last week, and the City of Cherryville, we already have over 300 kids, youth involved in this coming Little League and Dixie Youth softball season. which is incredible. We just finished our basketball season in the new Cherryville gym across the street. Over 200 kids participated in this recreation basketball season. I was over there for a few occasions, but as I understand it, during that basketball season, that place was packed. So it's already being used to its fullest potential. And something to me that's incredibly impressive is we just completed the first inaugural season of wrestling, youth wrestling, through our recreation department here in Cherryville. And over 60 youth participated in our program. And this past Saturday at Nixon Gym, with the assistance of the Cherryville High School wrestling team, they had a tournament, and over 100 kids were at that tournament on Saturday. I walked in there, and the place was packed. I know there were over 500 people, parents, spectators, and the participants themselves. So I even saw a couple kids walking around with their singlets on that said Indian Land. So they're coming from all over to a wrestling program here in Cherryville. So I think it's incredible, and I know we're very thankful for all the work the rec department is doing and will continue to do, and I think it's just bigger and better and growing each and every day, and I appreciate that. So, also, I'd like to mention something that's on, I think, a lot of people's minds around town. At least I've gotten quite a few calls and had many discussions, and that's the news of the Gaston County Schools announcing that they are studying reconfigurations that may affect our local Cherryville schools, and in particular the Beam Intermediate School. We have seen news reports, and most have seen the letter to parents from Beam Principal Lynn Whiteside that said no formal plans have been made and no decisions have been approved. And I'd like to say that I certainly hope that is the case. We've been assured that there will be meetings and public hearings before any decision is made. And one thing that stands out in my mind as a concern is that we all know if there's no intent to do something, there's no need to study it. So if there's studying it, there at least is intention on somebody's part to move forward in some regard. I did have a long talk last Thursday with our school board, Cherryville School Board representative, Robbie Lovelace. And what is really concerning to me is that she was unaware that this topic was before her. There was a committee meeting last Monday where this was introduced. She, due to a sickness, was unavailable and not able to be at that meeting. Normally she would have been. But I heard news of this on Tuesday morning. I called Brian Dalton. Brian immediately called Robbie Lovelace, and I believe that is the first time she was informed that this was even a topic on Gaston County Schools' mind. So that, to me, is incredibly concerning, that you're not alerting your school board representative of an upcoming discussion or topic. But more on that later, I guess. I certainly don't have any answers or solutions. The city doesn't have the answers or solutions. But I want to assure all citizens of Cherryville, especially our students, our parents, educators, that we as a city will be fully involved and present and will be heard at any and all future meetings concerning our Cherryville schools. I have a particular passion for this because in my previous tenure as mayor 25 years ago, we organized a Cherryville Education Task Force. And one of the first things that task force did, it was local citizens. It was headed by and chaired by Dr. Tom White. And one of the first things they did is they tackled an issue of overcrowding at East, at that time East, now Cherryville Elementary Schools. And the solution to that was the introduction and the development of Beam Intermediate School, which took the 4th and 5th graders out of East, alleviated the overcrowding at that time. So it's near and dear to me because it's a Cherryville topic, but also because we as a city had a hand in getting Beam Intermediate introduced and developed in this town. So, and another thing is that it's hard to imagine that 25 years later we've seen a huge decline in student population. I don't know the facts and figures, and I understand there is maybe a 4th and 5th grade lull at this point, but growth is coming. We've seen it. Close to 1,000 homes being approved in Cherryville. Already 30 are out of the ground. 120 apartments down on Academy Street that just in the last few days, last few weeks are starting to be occupied. And I understand they already have applications to be at full capacity. So there's no way you can tell me that we're declining in population, declining in student enrollment in this town. So again, that's just a surface, big picture view of the situation. But I do want to assure you, I appreciate the many calls, comments, discussions that I've had this week about that. I encourage y'all to keep sending information, sending data, sending information that you know about. And please know that we will assure you that we will be present. We will be heard loud and clear on anything that affects the future of any of our 4 schools here in Cherryville. And with that, I will move into the real part of the meeting tonight. Oh, I'm sorry. I would like to ask if council would like to have any Cherryville good news. I'll get off my soapbox for a minute then. So, Councilmember Freeman, anything you'd like to add or mention to the public? Thank you, sir. Councilmember Abernathy?
I'd just like to echo something you said already. Colby Hefner back there, I grew up in the neighborhood where he was born and raised, and there was 2 things that little boy loved in that neighborhood, and that was shooting his musket and being a firefighter. And he always said, from when I remember him, I'm going to be chief one day. And right there's proof that if you set your mind to it and you believe in it, it can come true. Congratulations again, Colby.
Thank you, sir. Councilman.
Yeah, I'd like to say thank you for your words about the schools. Been hearing a lot about it, a lot of upset people. So I'm glad for what you've said moving forward.
Thank you.
To help them.
Yes, Mayor, you covered my concern very well.
Good.
Thank you very much.
I know you have a vested interest there, in at least the namesake of that building.
Right. Thank you.
All right. With that, we will move on to discussion and approval to adopt the agenda tonight. Any discussion, or do I hear a motion?
Make a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
I second it.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous. And with that, we'll go to approval of the minutes of previous meeting. We have a City Council regular meeting of February 9th, 2026, and a City Council work session on February 24th, 2026.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve both sets of minutes together, the regular council meeting of February the 9th and the work session on February the 24th.
I second that. Motion and second to approve as submitted. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. And with that, we will arrive at our public comment. Speakers must pre-register with the city clerk, and comments are to be limited to 3 minutes. We have one person signed up at this point, but don't worry, if you would like to speak, you'll be given ample time to do that. But at this time, I'd like to call Dr. Edward Haynes to the podium, please. And if you could, state your name, address, and then let us know why you're here this evening, sir.
I am Dr. Edward Haynes. I am also a retired Army infantry colonel. My address is 1368 Laboratory Road. I'm here with Sarah Lark, and we represent Skybell. Some of the members in here remember us. We first approached Cherryville 10 months ago. I'll give you a brief overview since the 10 months have passed. We have driven over 60,000 miles, visited 840 fire departments across this country, over 100,000 firefighters, over 200 chiefs meetings, council member meetings, commissioner meetings to promote Skybell safety stickers to save lives of people with disabilities and seniors across this country and your pets. And along that journey, we have discovered many things. One thing is the desperate need for firefighters across this country and the retention of them. So I'm happy to announce today that Skybell has started the Skybell Foundation for Firefighters, in which I am taking $1 million of my own money to start. It is a program designed for firefighters with a benefit of $2,500 for each firefighter that complies and completes the program that we have laid out. And the program will launch April the 2nd. I hope that I hear back from someone on this council. I hope Brian Dalton will give me the respect to return my messages this time, because he failed to in the past. So did your previous mayor, and so did Emily. All Scout Bell wants to do is save lives and promote firefighters, because those are the front line. They run into your house, your structure when it's burning, when you run out. They're first on hand at every emergency. And I see what Cherryville's in desperate need of. But maybe our foundation will help. We've been by the Cherryville Fire Department 4 times, and no one answers the door. Okay? That's a shame. I don't know whether no one's working there except this volunteer. I don't know the deal. But we have tried and tried and tried. And we keep trying, because our foundation, everybody in this community of Cherryville, their lives matter. Their pets' lives matter. And it's the firefighters that's going to rush in and be there every time without hesitation. They don't have time to be sick. They don't have time to say, I'm tired and I don't feel like it today. They are going to be there. But why I can't get to your chief is beyond me. Y'all have any questions about what I've had to say?
No, we certainly appreciate you being here. What you've said, I'm very interested in. I'd like to have more information about you, your company. I can't speak to past calls, no calls, not returning calls, anything at all, but I can assure you someone will reach out to you. But my immediate question would be, hopefully you can provide some literature, information, facts, figures behind what you're wanting to do, and we can discuss that at a future date. But I can assure you will be contacted, sir.
Mr. Dalton, do you still have our information?
I don't know if I do or not.
I doubt it.
Do you have a card, sir?
I'll get you a business card, Mayor.
Or a phone number?
Yeah, we'll get you all that right there.
Okay.
We have been in a transition of chiefs, so that could have had.
But we've been trying for 10 months.
Could I get a phone number for you, sir?
704-208-8985. If you want to know more about us, go to theskybell, SKYBELLE.com.
Theskybell.com.
Right. And in 12 months, we've sold $6.5 million. Shows you the value that people put on their loved ones' lives and their pets. That's over $500,000 a month. But we want to help the firefighters now.
Great. Well, thank you, sir.
Welcome.
I appreciate it. Commend you for your efforts. Congratulate your success, and someone from the city will be in touch with you.
Thank you very much for coming.
That said, again, that was the only person we had signed up tonight, but I don't want to eliminate anyone from the opportunity to speak to council. Anyone here wish to speak on any concern? Yes, sir.
If it's on the sign thing, there'll be a time for that. You can speak during that public hearing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Thank you, Mr.
You'll have a
Rollins.
time just for that.
It'll be a public hearing, and you won't be limited at that time.
Yes.
All right, great. Now, if there's another concern you want to talk about, you're welcome to come to the podium. Anyone else here this evening wish to speak? Thank you very much. We'll move on to our next item of business, and that is recognition of city employees. And with that, I'll come down to the front here, and there's Mr. Brett. Brett here with us. Oh, hey, Brett. How are you doing, sir? Brett Gideon.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Brett, do you have family with you? Would you like to come forward? So please come up here. Chris King is our Public Works Director. This is a good part of our being mayor. Please come around here. And Brett is, say here where everybody look. Brett works at our Public Works Department. Chris King is our director there. Chris, is there anything you'd like to say about Brett at this
Brett's
time?
a great employee, an absolute asset to the sanitation department. Comes to work every day, does his job. We're happy to have him. So, with that, congratulations.
So Brett, who do you have with you this evening?
That's my mother and my grandmother.
We are very proud of him. We are certainly here at the city. And this certificate says this is awarded to Brett Gideon in recognition of 5 years of service to the city of Cherryville. Brett, congratulations. And it's Tim Abernathy here. I see him in the back there. Is Brian Williams with us this evening? Tim Abernathy works at our water plant, and this certificate is awarded to Tim in recognition of 10 years of service to the city of Cherryville. Thank you very much, Tim. We appreciate it. You want to say anything? Don't want to talk about any particular council member? And Kim Lassiter. Is Kim here? I think she's in the back. Lancaster, I'm sorry. And I'll ask the Chief Hunsucker to come forward too. Did you have anybody with you? Okay, yeah, come on up. Come on. Come on up. And this is a pretty special award. Kim has been with the Cherryville Police Department for 25 years. Chief Hunsucker, anything you'd like to say, sir?
Although my badge says chief, I can tell you that Kim runs the police. If it wasn't for Kim, we could not survive day to day. She does everything from our audits to filing the most simple paperwork, so it goes from the top to the bottom. She does all our POs, everything. Kim, thank you for the dedication that you have to the police department. Thank you for the dedication you have to the guys. And she's a great employee and very easy to supervise. So.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief. And this certificate is awarded to Kim Lancaster in recognition of 25 years of service, dedicated service to the city of Cherryville. And our next item of business is a very important and very special resolution that we have. This is kind of fine print, and longer than those certificates, so I'm definitely going to need my glasses here. But I'd like to introduce Susan Lewis, if she would come forward, please, at this time. And there's a crowd with her, family, friends, co-workers, everybody. So I'd like for all you guys to come up that have any association with Beam Construction, please.
Or past association.
Past association, yeah. Any association, for sure. And I'll ask Susan if she would, if she wants to do the introductions and recognize everyone that's with her this evening.
I'll start with oldest.
Congratulations.
So, Jerry Helms was the vice president of Beam Construction and was there for 43 years. Gary Beam was our CFO and was with us for nearly as long. 38. I'll just have to now go in regular. Dylan Smith is a project manager with us. Kristen Ledford is a project coordinator. Dixie Leatherman is a assistant project manager. My sister Margaret, custodian. We are. My son Thomas Lewis, who's a superintendent for us. My husband Art Lewis, who's hadn't gotten paid for this, but he's lived it. Jason Raines is our current CFO and is also a partner in the business. Justin Boheeler next to him is our president and is a partner in the business. Jason Klontz in the teal is vice president and excellent project manager and handles our pre-construction. Behind him, the bearded one is Andrew Murray, who's a project manager. Nick Seitz, and the bright red NC State Red is an assistant project manager with us, and Luke Simmons is a project manager with us. So, great. There's a lot of other folks that could be here. My sister Mary is documenting it.
Well, thank you, Susan. With that, I would like to present this resolution from the City of Cherryville, North Carolina. A resolution honoring Beam Construction Company on the occasion of its 100th anniversary. Whereas Beam Construction Company was founded in 1925 in Cherryville, North Carolina, and has proudly served the citizens of Cherryville and surrounding communities for 100 years. And whereas throughout its century of service, Beam Construction Company has built and renovated schools, churches, municipal facilities, commercial establishments, and other vital infrastructures that have strengthened the fabric of our community and the greater region. And whereas the company's longevity is a testament to its commitment to quality craftsmanship, integrity, innovation, safety, and strong family leadership across multiple generations. And whereas Beam Construction Company has contributed significantly to the economic vitality of Cherryville by providing employment opportunities, supporting local businesses, and investing in the community. And whereas the company's leadership and employees have demonstrated civic responsibility through charitable support, volunteerism, and active engagement in community development initiatives. And whereas reaching a 100-year milestone is a rare and distinguished achievement that reflects enduring dedication, resilience, and excellence in the construction industry, now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Cherryville, North Carolina, that the Mayor and the City Council do hereby congratulate Beam Construction on the celebration of its 100th anniversary, express sincere appreciation for its century of service and lasting contributions to the City of Cherryville and the surrounding region, and extend best wishes for continued success and prosperity in the years ahead. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution is presented to the leadership of Beam Construction Company as a token of the city's gratitude and recognition. Adopted this 9th day of March 2026 and signed by Mayor Wade Stroud, City Clerk Mary Beth Tackett. So, thank you so much.
Thank you all. It's been a pleasure, and the City of Cherryville has been a part of our heritage, obviously, both corporately and as a community, and it's something that we take very serious, is our commitment to our local community and local businesses. And my brother Robert, who retired in 2021, could not be here tonight because he is sick. So unfortunately he wasn't able to come, but do appreciate his service.
Well, thank you so much for being here. Thanks to all of y'all for what you do for our community. And with that, I'll just tell y'all, get to work on the renovation.
Thank you so much for coming. Thank y'all so much.
I appreciate you showing up. Thanks for coming. Big honor. Mary Jane, you can't leave. You gotta drive me home. You can't leave. You gotta take me home. I can't drive.
Emma. You know I would. It's your family. I love you. If you need any pain medicine.
Yeah, they shot me full today, so I should.
I'd like to say about this. When the time
trying to get it quick. Liz, the truck.
Before they leave, I'd like to say, Susan, I have one thing I'd like to say. When I first came to work for the city, which has been, it seems like 100 years ago, your daddy was on the city council, and you can bet your bottom dollar when Tom Brown spoke and when he made a decision, it was for the best of the city. And we admire Tom Brown so much. I just wanted to let you know that.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here, sister. With that, we'll move on to the next item of business, which is item number 6, resolution of intent to permanently close a street or alley, Grove Road. Richard Elam's with us this evening, and I believe we have a little bit of information. This will to change our action to have to do this resolution tonight. So,
how's everyone tonight?
Good.
Well, tonight, March 9th, we scheduled on the agenda to have the resolution of intent to permanently close a portion of Grove Road on the south side of the CSX Railroad. An application from a realtor for someone that's going to buy that land was to start the process, and it had been received, and purpose this item was on tonight's agenda, which was a resolution. So on Friday late, we got information from NCDOT, and since the process was set in order, more investigation was involved, and with the assistance of Mr. Wes Clary of the NCDOT, Mr. Clary found out that this portion of Grove Road had already been closed after going through a lengthy processes between 2003 and 06. And I've already given the city clerk the PDFs that he found related to that correspondence. In that correspondence, North Carolina DOT had held a public hearing. They held it here in this building. NCOD then closed that portion of Grove Road. Next, DOT offered this road to Gaston County through one of their meetings, and they rejected it. They didn't want anything to do with that road, that dirt road. So, and the city of Cherryville was also involved as witness at that time by a letter from, which the city clerk has, from Mr. Bob Ostell to the NCDOT with the city manager at that time, David Hoskins, copied in on that letter. The city of Cherryville did not want dedication to this portion of Grove Road and even assisted in putting up gates to keep four-wheelers and individuals from illegally dumping onto the trash of those properties. So when all this happened, someone in Gaston County failed to remove those roads, or NCDOT did, from those two parcels that it runs through from Lester Street all the way to Paul H. Beam Road. So I will get with Gaston County GIS Department tomorrow to make sure these lines showing that it's a road will get removed from all GIS maps. And really there's no action needed from City Council tonight on this number 6 on the agenda. And if y'all have any questions.
No, just to clarify for public information, this is the lot that's down at the end of Academy Street as you come to the stop sign and turn right on the Paul H. Beam. It's the large wooded lot there that has no improvements on it at this time. And that lot has been owned by Gardner Webb University for many years and been marketed and tried to get it sold for business development in the past. But recently it has been sold to a developer. It has not been divulged what they may do with that, but one of the stipulations of buying the road is that there's an old dirt road in the woods out there that is on Gaston County's books, is on the books as a legitimate state road. But as Mr. Elam's just said, in doing research through the state and through the county, it was determined that years ago, about 20 years ago, that road was in fact closed.
Yeah, it's abandoned.
So it is not now officially a road. So we were going to take action tonight to close the road, but we don't have to do that because it has been previously closed. So yeah, are any other questions of council on this?
Yeah, I have one. Richard, what about the dirt road that turns off of 150? There, below
Grove Street.
Line.
Yeah, Grove Street was at an angle. That was called Grove Road 2.
Yes.
It extended across the railroad tracks and then it bared to the right to come out on Paul Beam Road.
So it's the entire,
that
entire road.
The Grove Road extends from Paul H. Beam across the railroad tracks over to the road you're referring to that comes out on 150. The road that is closed now is just the portion that's on the Academy Street side of the railroad tracks.
It's not the other part.
No, it's not. So the portion from the railroad tracks to 150 is open and will remain open.
And this is it is a state road.
It is a state road.
Yeah. Correct.
But it is unpaved. It's not paved.
Ms. Hovis, if you look at your map on page 15,
okay,
you can see
if
there.
I could find that, I would.
The section that's highlighted, that is the section that is basically an undeveloped road. It's just dirt, woods. That's the section that will be closed. That runs adjacent with the railroad tracks. The portion you're talking about is where Dan Authors approved to put in RV parking.
Yes, that's the reason I was asking.
Yeah, that's
about that. Thank you much. Gotcha. Thank y'all very much.
Right.
I'm
It's
with
still
you
state
now.
maintained. Okay. Any other questions, Mr. Elam?
Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Richard.
Not requiring action, we will move on then.
Thank you for the research.
The next item, and he's going to stay in place. We have a public hearing for recommending text amendment to the sign ordinance. And again, Planning and Zoning Director Richard Elam is here to walk us through that.
I'll walk you through the dates. At the regular meeting of City Council on February the 9th, City Council set a public hearing date for tonight, March the 9th, to consider text amendments to Part 9 of the City of Cherryville zoning ordinance as it relates to signage. At the regular meeting of the City of Cherryville's Planning Board on February 16th, the Planning Board made some recommendations to the City Council for adoption of the amendments as revised by the Planning Board. as it relates to sign. On Tuesday, February 24th, the legal notice of a public hearing was posted in the front and side entrances, lobbies of City Hall. And the legal notice was advertised in the Eagle section of the Lincoln Time News on Wednesday, February 25th, and Wednesday, March 4th, 2026. So here we are tonight to hold a public hearing. The Section 9.1.6 of the City of Cherryville zoning ordinance states that the City Council has three options. They can adopt the amendments as written, adoption of the amendments as revised by the Planning Board, or rejection of these amendments, which mean there's no need for any amendments and to leave the current sign ordinance as written to be enforced by the code enforcement departments. So, since it wasn't a formal request for this, turn it back over to the City Council if they want to hold a public hearing or dismiss this. Or
I think we've advertised and fully want to hear any comments that anyone's brought forward tonight. So I think we fully intend on going forward with the public hearing. Any questions of Mr. Elam before we enter the public hearing? With that, I will entertain a motion to enter into public hearing on to consider recommendations to text amendment sign.
Motion to go into public hearing.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
We're now under public hearing. Any person present can come forward and speak to this topic. You will not be limited on time, and I know we have at least one gentleman who wants to speak. So, Mr. Long, if you'd like to come forward now. And if you could, for the record, state your name and address and or business.
Brian Long, 611 East Academy Street, Carolina Heating and Cooling. Good evening, Mayor Stroop, City Council members, City Manager Dalton, Richard Elam, Wes Bennett, and others. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you this evening on behalf of the small business owners of Cherryville. More specifically, on behalf of local trades contractors. That would include heating and air contractors, plumbers, electricians, roofing contractors, as well as lawn care vendors and food establishments. Recently, I reached out to each of you concerning the challenges of local tradesmen in marketing to our local constituents, particularly older, more mature clients that rarely use cell phones and social media as a source of news or information. Special thanks to Mayor Stroop and 3 of the City Council members that met with me to discuss this subject one-on-one. In addition, I am appreciative of phone calls from City Manager Brian Dalton and Richard Elam concerning this subject. At this time, several weeks ago, I put forth suggestions to you for possible modifications to the 2006 printed sign ordinance. I appreciate your consideration of these ideas. I also attended the most recent zoning board meeting where I was allowed to expound on these thoughts and suggestions. Many thanks to Ed Yump and this group for being allowed to address them in person. I rise this evening to ask the City Council to consider modifications to the 2006 zoning ordinance section related to printed media signage placement at customer locations where work has taken place. I ask each of you to consider if Cherryville is committed to supporting small businesses in this community. Will each of you demonstrate your commitment by approving these suggestions and the referral on this matter from the zoning board? Small business is the backbone of our beloved city. Future support will go a long way in allowing all tradesmen and other entities to flourish inside the city of Cherryville. It is my viewpoint and hope that as you consider this subject this evening, you will demonstrate your intentions to support small business community and look for other opportunities to retain trades contractors in Cherryville establishments. Many of us were raised here and desire to remain in our beloved hometown as a viable participating member in the growth and the stability of the place where life blossoms. I appreciate your time this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Long, very much. Anyone else present wish to speak on this topic? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to exit the public hearing.
So moved.
Second. Motion second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
So we're now out of public hearing. And I'll make a few comments at this time, and then certainly let council weigh in as they feel led to do so. This is a subject that first hit my plate on January 21st. And it started with a very casual conversation and a couple simple questions from Mr. Long to me about the sign ordinances and application and enforcement of those. In the days that followed that, there were discussions that I had with City Manager Dalton and Mr. Elam, and honestly, I think things kind of got way fast too soon, and I'll take full responsibility for that. Because in looking through this, and we're talking tonight about a paragraph or 10 or 12 sentences that have been entered into. Basically, this is our sign ordinance. And I don't know if y'all can see, I've been through it 20 times and I've highlighted and chopped it up left and right from start to finish. So I'll take responsibility for the aggressiveness of this public hearing and maybe us having this conversation and at least a decision on this conversation, I think way too soon. The bottom line is the way the codes were drafted, and I was part of in the early 2000s, 2000, 2001, 2002, the last major overhaul of our entire planning and zoning ordinances. And that took a couple of years to go through with Central Carolina Council of Governments, public meetings, planning and zoning meetings, everything. And then soon after that time, there was a further revision of those ordinances to include 2006 full revision of what is today our existing signed ordinances in the city of Cherryville. So there's been a lot of thought, a lot of effort into what we have today. There's also been a lot of research done, and our laws and ordinances are fairly consistent with neighboring towns around us, as they said. So where I think we need to maybe slow down and think about it a little bit more, in my opinion, is we need to look at the signed ordinance in its entirety rather than trying to piece in one small part of this. And I'm not suggesting that we ignore this, we don't take action on this, but I'm suggesting we might want to give further thought to this. The Planning and Zoning Board met, and I've talked to a couple of their members, and they actually only had maybe a week to really consider what we're looking at tonight. And there is a feeling, and we all received a letter from one of those planning members that he felt that adequate time wasn't given to the topic. So I think that's where we're at tonight, in my opinion. Now, I know Mr. Long's not going to be happy with what I'm about to say, but what I am about to say is that basically, if you look around the city of Cherryville and you see yard signs everywhere, 99, if not 100% of those are illegal according to our city ordinances today. And they've been illegal since 2006. So the first thing that I want to see is I really don't care what the law is, but I want full 100% compliance and enforcement of those laws. Because if we're not going to enforce them, why have them?
Amen.
So in essence, and Brian and I have talked about this, his signs, all the other signs you see are illegal. And just to kind of quantify it a little bit, soon after our discussions, or this started, end of January, I traveled the entire length of Main Street, from where it intersects at Academy to where it intersects down at Sunbeam Farm Road. And then I started at Walmart on 150 and traveled all the way to Paul H. Beam Road. I don't know who would like to venture a guess as to how many yard signs I counted. 164. Every one of those were illegal. Let that sink in. Right, so anyway, I mean, that just speaks volumes. A lot of talk about this has been about campaign signs. Campaign signs in and of themselves are not illegal if they're put out 30 days before the election and taken up within a week after the election. I put out campaign signs for the November 4th election in October, and I put them out, and I saw March primary signs out in October for 6 months. So if we're not going to enforce those on a timely basis, and if we're not going to take our ordinances seriously and enforce them seriously, then it's going to take a lot more study and research as to what the content of those laws are before I'm ever going to say we're going to enforce them. Now, I know we have laws on the books, and I know they're covered. Another thing in this, another layer of this, and I hope y'all bear with me a minute, is Mr. Wes Bennett is our new Cherryville Code Enforcement Officer. We've never had a full-time code enforcement officer, and he's doing some wonderful things. And he's not going to be a sign Nazi, and I think Mr. Long and I had that conversation before. That's not the intent of his position. His position is to clean up problems, real problems, and he's already doing that, and it's having a positive effect on our community. But the more he's in that job on an everyday basis, and the more he's working with other towns and learning what they're doing, how they're enforcing this, how they're enforcing that, I would say today probably, if not in a month or two, he's going to have far more knowledge than I ever will have about what should be or should not be our code enforcement policies, especially regarding signs or anything else for that matter. So I'd like to kind of slow this down till we can get Wes further on board, get his feet under him, and then he has a vested interest in what we do in terms of shaping our policies because he's the one out there enforcing those policies. So I'll kind of leave it at that for now, but I'd love for others to weigh in on your thoughts and concerns right now.
I'd like to say something then. One of the things I noticed in that enforcement on section 9.3 was talking about in danger of falling, otherwise endangering the public safety, which when they're on the roadway, yes, they can be a danger if they get out in the street or whatever else, you know. As far as advertising, I don't know if that's legal. Also, yes, I've had contractors at my house, roofers or whatever, and they ask to put it in my yard, but they're in my yard back somewhat, you know, into the yard, but they can still be seen by the road for advertising purposes. That might be something else we're going to have to look at, I'll say, because I've had different ones, but they'd only leave them about a week or so, and then they would come back and pick them up. Just to let you know you've done something, or...
and that's 100% correct. Again, and that's the essence of this conversation, certainly the essence of Mr. Long's concern. But a day or 2 days or a week, that sign is illegal according to our current policy. So trying to shape something that kind of one size fits all in a very brief time frame, to me, you know...
We're going to be cautious about it, or...
Right.
Yeah, and I'm going to echo what Wade said. I don't like the way this is written because the way it's written now, it is saying the signs can be placed there when the work starts.
You're referring to the amended.
The amendment part that they're proposing.
Right.
Yeah, the proposal under Section 11 is saying you put the sign out the day the work starts, and it can stay up 15 days after the work has been completed. Well, somebody could drag that out and say we're getting parts, and next thing you know, the sign's been there for 2 months. So I'm on board with slowing this down, sending it back to the zoning board. Let's look into this and take a deeper dive. So I'm okay with that.
And let me just say to your point exactly, that's something that would be impossible for staff.
There's no way he could maintain that right there.
Mr. Bennett.
That's all he would do.
You know, when a sign went out and when the 15 days went all over town. That would be impossible for him to do.
Personally, I like the way it's written. I understand it could go longer than 15 days, but I think we should say 15 days and that's it. Whether it's when it starts or when it ends, but a total of 15 days. But I understand it's going to be hard to enforce it, like you say. But I like the idea that only one sign in front of the premise. You know, a lot of the speculations in that, which is on page 20, number 11, I think works. I think tradesmen definitely ought to be able to put a sign out while they're working there. But, you know, like you say, they shouldn't be able to put the sign out a month ahead while they're consulting and getting parts and all that kind of stuff. When they actually start the job, then from that day, whether they're finished or not, he's come down after 15 days.
I actually have that written here, not to exceed 15 days.
Yeah.
Did I say one more?
Yes.
Sure. Just take, for example, a lawn care business. His sign would never come down if you allow him 2, 3 days, even 7 days. That's the reason it's written as it was written. What's allowed in a residential and what's not allowed in a residential. If it states it's not stated it's allowed, it's just not allowed. Some people say, well, it's not in the ordinance where it's allowed. Well, it's because it's not allowed.
Yeah,
I'm talking about tradesman type jobs like heating and air,
right? I have no
electrical. I think we ought to make an exception as far as lawn care, where they're there every week, and say that's not part of it.
But you've got various types of businesses that could keep them there more than the 15 days. And speaking for a code enforcement, because I did it 25 years, we don't know when the sign was put out there, and we don't know when it's going to come up. And if there are too many days, then the code enforcement officer has to write the property owner, telling him that he's in violation. And he also has to send a letter to the contractor. So there you got 2 letters going out. If you got 50 signs, you got 100 letters going out. That's the reason I had no problem with them putting it out while they're doing the work and picking it up as they leave, because their business is painted on the side of the truck also. That's just my thought. That put it out, give them a chance to put it out while they're there working, and then pick it up when you leave.
Yeah,
or when the job's over.
I was just going to say there's very much a vagueness to what does work mean. I mean, you know, in Mr. Long's situation, it's certainly pretty evident when he's tearing out putting in a whole new unit, tearing out a unit. Work's being done there, but you know, sorry, Brian, I'm going to use you as an example. When he goes in to just check a thermostat, does that allow him to put his sign out there for 15 days? He's doing work at that facility, and he can certainly, if we change to this. So, and then also a roofer's, putting on a roof. That's evident. A plumber's in there, putting in a new faucet on the kitchen sink. We don't know that. How do you know that? I mean, certainly the code enforcement officer's not going to know driving by that was the plumber there yesterday, the day before, 5 days ago. So there's a huge vagueness to me, and when you just say when work is done.
I would just like to say that I think we should allow time for our planning and zoning board to look at this in depth and make a recommendation to us. That's what we appoint them for. And I just don't think we need to rush into a decision tonight. That's my comment.
I tend to agree with that, and I think we need to look at the entire sign ordinance.
Exactly.
Again, get Mr. Bennett's opinions, as he's the one enforcing these laws. And again, I take full responsibility for this thing being put on incredible fast track that in hindsight certainly merited, I think, more discussion and concern, because not only this one paragraph or this new paragraph or this one section, but there's 6 pages of definitions in our sign ordinance. There's 16 pages of the ordinance itself.
But if we try to attempt to do that right here tonight,
Well, no, that's what I'm saying.
we'll be here next time this time.
No, but I think we need to look at everything in its entirety.
Exactly.
Certainly addressing the concern at hand.
Arizona would like to have it back, I
Right,
think,
so-
after reading that letter.
Yes.
All right, so any other comments or questions? Any from staff?
Yes,
From
sir.
our legal staff?
I'd like to go ahead and say something else.
Oh,
I'm with Brian on, I think we ought to support small business. So in
Absolutely.
the meantime, while we're studying this, Lord knows how long it's going to take us, can they go ahead and put their signs out without them being in violation for now?
I can agree with-
that would take some kind of
I can agree
action
with that.
to
I
do
can
that.
agree with that.
No.
Personally, I think from staff's perspective, it's easier for staff if they enforce the ordinance as it stands right now. If we choose to not enforce it, then really you've really taken action to change the ordinance if you choose not to enforce it. That's my opinion. I think
We haven't been enforcing it. Can we not go a few more weeks not enforcing it?
And I tried to make that motion at the last meeting to get all the signs up now till we decided, but.
Well, that's what we was trying
Yeah,
to get the
yeah.
phone board and get to here, to this point.
Right.
But I personally feel like if we don't enforce the ordinance as it is now, or adopt something different, then we really have taken action to change it if we're not going to enforce it. I mean, that's my opinion. I mean, it's just like when we were looking at adopting a different speed limit on Highway 150. You know, at the time we were looking at that and trying to get DOT to change that from 55 to 45. If you went down there and you were going, you know, you wasn't speeding until they changed the sign and put 45. I just think that's a slippery slope if you choose not to enforce the ordinance as it is written, unless you make it.
What I'm saying is we just continue as we've been.
Well, but
Stick our head in the sand.
that goes back to
Until we come up with a new ordinance.
But that goes back to you're never going to have 100% enforcement on whatever you write. It doesn't matter whatever you write. It'll be hard to go out here and enforce every sign or every violation every day. That's going to be nearly impossible. I mean, that's just reality.
I would certainly be in favor of some sort of grace
What's our city
period.
attorney going to say?
You're relying on your citizen base to also self-police somewhat, right? The ordinance is there. The laws are to be followed. The speed limit sign is there. It's to be followed. And if you break it, then we are to enforce it. If you don't enforce it, you are undercutting and taking away your ability to do that, especially action tonight, saying we're not going to enforce it. So
I'm not asking for action. I'm asking just to continue as we've been continuing with it.
yes, Councilman Freeman, but inaction is action.
Well, we've been inactive.
Well, we just saw West, right? West just came on.
But honestly, that's not completely true. I've seen Mr. Elam take signs up, call people and say, hey, you need to come get your signs. So there has been some enforcement. But like I said, is there ever going to be 100%? No, because it's not like they're riding around the whole 5 square miles of Cherryville every day trying to find these. Like, you know, that's all we have to do is look for a sign that's out of place. But I would just be cautious and not enforcing what you have written.
Well, let me ask you this. Could we go ahead and adopt on a temporary basis number 11 on page 20, give them one sign while they're working there up to 15 days?
I mean, you can do what you choose to. I mean, that is totally up to you as a board.
How do y'all feel about that? Any other?
So if we don't do anything tonight and we're under our current ordinance, we're under our, if we take no action tonight, we've still got the ordinance on the books
Yes.
that we are enforcing.
Yeah.
That we are.
If you remember, Mr. Elam, he gave you your 3 options basically at the first.
Yes.
You have those 3 options. You can leave the ordinance as is, and like Mayor Strapp said, these signs would be in violation. All 165 of them or whatever we saw, they would be in violation and they would need to be removed.
Okay, my next question, if that option, then starting tomorrow or whenever Officer Bennett has time, he's going to go out and he's going to take up every one of those signs that are illegal.
I'm not saying he's going to do that for sure. I don't know what else he might have on his plate. I can't
Well,
say.
see, that's, well, I'm just using that as an example.
You know,
Could we say, hey, you've got to the end of the month to get them up?
I think that's your best option, something to that effect. And so you got to.
And then once we get
the end of
together
the
and iron
month,
it out.
they're in violation, and then we can continue to look and come up with, as a unit, planning board, city council, what do we want for the city of Cherryville as far as the sign ordinance is concerned? I think a 2-week grace period is fine, but I just don't want us to say we're not going to enforce what we have because, you know, what if we don't talk about it for another month or 2? Then we go from probably 164 to 364. It'll just keep getting worse and worse. But now grace period of 2 weeks, I think that's fine. I wouldn't have a problem with that.
I agree.
Legally.
I agree. That's adequate due process. You're giving citizens notice. We have the public hearing tonight. They have the ability to remove the sign. I think that's a well-struck compromise.
It's a good compromise, yeah.
What do you think, Councilman Freeman?
I agree, that's a good compromise.
Okay, all right. I agree with that. I would say instead, let's look at either March 30th or April 1st or something, just so it's kind of a clear set date rather than worrying about 2 weeks or whatever. That would be one suggestion. The other suggestion is, if we do this, is to stick to our commitment to address this further and work on this further and hash it out in a proper due course.
In a timely fashion.
Right, yeah.
In a timely
I don't
fashion.
want to be talking about this in the summer or in the fall. We need to get this done in a couple months, but I think it's evident that just last month has been far too aggressive.
I just want to clarify one thing for Mr. Freeman. The sign ordinance was being enforced up to the year we gave it to that company out of town for a year. That's when it went to pot.
I will agree with that.
Yeah.
When the Alliance was doing the code enforcement, they were mostly focusing on high grass and stuff like that more than they were signs. It probably definitely get out of hand.
And before you
doing your job.
Yeah, and before you make that decision, there are some vendors that have their signs all over town. That's where they're working now, and I don't think it's right for those signs to be out everywhere right now on friends' properties here and there, because they're up and down various locations. Old Post Road, and Elm Street, Main Street.
Well,
no work's going on there.
But if we don't do anything tonight to our ordinance and we give a end of the month grace period effective April 1st, every one of those signs is going to be inconsistent with our code.
I just got to say,
I mean, regardless of where it may be, it's
correct. Already been out there, since January.
Right.
That's the reason I thought that was a long time. Just to let you know, the election signs can be got up on the 10 days from the 3rd, so on the 13th we can get permission to go ahead and get them up.
It already looks.
Now, B1, they need to be removed.
Yeah, there's no signs allowed in the central.
No signs in the central business district
at all.
Yeah, they can go tomorrow.
They can go tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Any further discussion? And if not, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we keep our current zoning standards on signs the way it is and begin enforcement of this ordinance on April the 1st, pending further discussion and us looking into this and taking a little bit more time.
Second.
Any discussion, further discussion? clarification, everybody understand the motion?
Yeah, sure do.
Okay. All in favor of that motion?
Aye.
Opposed? And it is unanimous. Thank you very much. Next item is consideration to set a public hearing for proposed building standards ordinance. Steve Panton's with us. Did you care to address this, sir?
I think I'm deferring to you.
Okay. Steve
Yes.
gave a very good presentation. I saw it on the tape at our last work session. Thank you, Steve, for the work you've done on this so far. Mr. Dalton.
Yes, Mayor, Council, I'd like to say, Steve, obviously, you heard his presentation at the last work session. Steve has put a lot of work into this new ordinance for our downtown district. But I did talk to Steve today, and I will have to agree with him 100%. He would like to have a little bit more time to send out letters, find property owners that are not in the state, to let them know that, hey, this is an ordinance that we're looking at and we're hoping to adopt in the next few months. He's also has a ordinance drafted that I will be emailing each one of you so you can start looking at it in ordinance form. The new one? Oh, I'm sorry.
We just got it this evening.
Okay. Well, he showed it to me today, but talking to Steve, he's asking for a little bit more time so we can get Main Street, with the retirement of day-to-day, so we can get Main Street in order, put a little more effort into finding some of these property owners that are out of state and try to let them know what is coming and what we're looking at, and then adopt the ordinance if that's possible.
So no action tonight?
No action tonight.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Any questions on that? No. All right. Thank you very much. I would just suggest let's not push it too far down the road. I think we're all eager to get this thing going. I know you are, Steve. Thank you. And now we have Mr. Chairman Pete Kraft of the Cherryville Historical Museum. Thank you, Mr. Kraft, for wading through the other parts of this meeting. We appreciate having you here with us this evening.
We're going to limit you to 45 minutes. Okay?
I think I can. Of course, Mr. Mayor, our prayers have been with you and Mary over these last several weeks. Mr. Mayor, City Council, City Manager, all. This update, of course, is on our museum, the Cherryville Historical Museum, and I would like to preface my comments tonight by saying that anyone who has ever volunteered with the Historical Museum in any way, your time, interest in our history, and commitment to the museum is very much appreciated. A lot of these volunteers have passed on, but we're grateful for all. Had it not been for our past volunteers and our past board members, we would not have what we have today. In late 2023, applications were taken by the City Council for people who had interest to serve on the Board of Directors of the Cherryville Historical Museum. After examining all applications, 5 new board members were voted on by Council. In February of 2024, the new board appointed by City Council soon met to select officers. The board selected by Council was Pete Kraft, Diana White, Clay Henley, Judy Bingham, and Malcolm Parker. The officers elected at that time were as follows: Pete Kraft, Chairman, Diana White, Secretary, and Clay Henley, Treasurer. The museum continued to be open on Saturdays from 10 until 2. Several board members came on these Saturdays along with some volunteers. Glenn Lashbrook from Shelby has been a constant volunteer for 25 plus years. Has no connection to Cherryville, but he started volunteering under Hal Strapp, he told me. Glenn has done a tremendous job in scanning and organizing all of our old photos, and we do appreciate him so much, and he's eager to get back to doing what he has enjoyed doing. In our bylaws, it was stated that the new board could appoint 2 additional members at their discretion. After talking with the board members, it was suggested that we reach out to Alice Dellinger and Anita Millwood to see if they would consider serving. Both had served before, and this newly appointed board felt that they could be a help to us, and they certainly have been. We appointed Alice Dellinger as assistant treasurer to help Clay since he worked out of town. Last year, Clay stepped down as treasurer, and Alice assumed that role, and it was a seamless transition. As time went on, we wanted to update the museum just a bit and take care of some things that needed to be done, some organizing, cleaning, painting, etc., to give the museum a fresh look. This idea started out small, but ended up big. After some discussion, the board voted unanimously to contact Sid Strapp to be our project manager. Sid enjoys history and took on this role for a 6-month period, which obviously lasted a lot longer. He was making contacts to people for work, getting bids, meeting people to let them in and show them things that needed to be done, just to name a very few things. I mentioned earlier that our idea of freshening up the museum started out small but ended up big. Here's what I meant by that. The first floor and second floor courtroom area were completely cleaned out, and items were carefully boxed, labeled, and stored in climate-controlled storage units. Sid then recruited some folks to volunteer their time to help in this project. Walls were cleaned, some of the old plaster was removed where it was damaged to expose some of the original brick. For many years, only half of the bull was visible in the Bull Durham painting. Thanks to volunteers, that painting is fully visible now. Also, thanks to Councilman Gary Freeman, the whole painting and the marble plaque beside of it has been restored and looks great. The old tile ceiling in the front room was removed and the original wood ceiling exposed. All wood floors were cleaned and a clear coat put on them after they dried completely. The interior was painted and exterior wood around the doors and windows was painted to a similar color as the original paint. Some of the people who helped with the inside updates, along with other volunteers, have become known as our design team. This design team, I believe, is made up of around 12 people, 3 of which are board members. Sid led this group, and this team has done extensive research and met weekly to discuss and brainstorm putting the museum back together and how to effectively display our exhibits. Sid would also report at each of our monthly board meetings on the progress that was being made by our design team. We would not have been able to do what has been done so far without Sid's dedication, leadership, and vision, and we're grateful for what he has done. Sid recently stepped away from that role. He was planning to stay on as a volunteer, but currently has some other family obligations that require his attention at this time. Also, we thank these volunteers who have donated their time to help in this project. This group of volunteers have been a fun group to be around, and they've been excited about what's going on at the museum and looking forward to the finished product. Have we had obstacles and bumps in the road? Of course we have, but we've taken those things, discussed them, and everything has stayed positive and on track. The volunteers who have worked countless hours on the museum project have saved the museum at least $100,000, if not more, because the only expenses we had was material cost. Our Mayor, Wade Strapp, is one of those volunteers, and we thank you, sir, for all you've done to help the museum. Light fixtures have been updated, a new heating and air system has been installed, a new roof installed. We got our money's worth out of that roof. That roof was placed on the building in 1911 when the building was first built and lasted over 112 plus years. So I think we did good there. These 2 items, heating and air system, lighting, and the roof, are big ticket items and should last us for a good while to come. A new library has been designed, and all of the Cherryville Eagles are kept there at the museum in that library. They are in book volumes by year from 1937 to 2013, and we're glad to have them housed in the museum now. We have an excellent museum board and dedicated volunteers. All decisions that have been discussed and voted on have been unanimously approved by this board. Council members Janice Hovis and Gary Freeman, who serve as council liaisons to the museum, have been at almost, if not all, board meetings this current board has had. As exhibits return, we want our museum to tell the story of our rich history as you walk through it. We have entrusted these volunteers on the design team to study and see how they can display these exhibits effectively to tell that story. They have visited and talked with other museums in our area to get ideas, so stay tuned as these exhibits are being put back together. We now have a whole calendar's year worth of updated books. This consists of bills, bank statements, and other reports. We've been updated and licensed with the IRS and Secretary of State for people who wish to make financial donations to the museum. We have a young lady who will be doing an internship at the museum this summer to help her complete a class that she's taken. We're in the process of looking for a part-time director, additional volunteers, the possibility of expanding our hours, and other exciting things. Today, the Cherryville Historical Museum may be in the strongest financial position we've ever been in, thanks to several people who have made and continue to make financial donations to the museum. To say that these donations are much appreciated would be an understatement, but we're grateful for them and we assure you that they will be used wisely. Lastly, I would like to say thank you to our former Mayor H.L. Beam, current Mayor Wade Strapp, City Council, and City Manager Brian Dalton for the trust you have placed in the people you have selected for this board. You have supported us in our decisions, and we have worked together as a team this entire time, which is so important. We hope to keep that good relationship with you all, and I trust that we will. With the help of you all, our board, and great volunteers, we can certainly make great things happen, and we look forward to that. We believe that the Cherryville Historical Museum will be a showpiece and a place that we will all be proud of once it's completed. Again, thank you all for your time, attention, and support of our museum and our rich history in Cherryville. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pete, for a wonderful report. I certainly appreciate all the good work that you and the board and all the volunteers are doing up there, and it has been a lot of work. Just a couple questions I had. Stay tuned for more to come. Any timelines on when we might be getting some activity in there on a regular basis?
So we're hoping to have a lot of the main floor put back together in some way. It may not be the permanent way it stays, but hopefully some of that main floor, and what I mean by that is from the large front doors all the way back, which would be military, some fire department stuff's in there, New Year shooters. Our library is in the center section there where the City Hall stuff used to be, and in the back is going to be dedicated to the meals in the area. So hopefully by the Cherry Blossom Festival we will have a lot of that put back together. Like I say, it may not be where it might stay, but it will be back there. And then hopefully by then we will get back to those hours, at least of Saturdays, from 10 to 2 if we can't open more than that. And we would like to see that, as we've got places like the Five Spur Steakhouse. If people are waiting to be seated or whatever, the museum would be open if they want to come and hang around a little bit while they're waiting.
No, I think that's great. And I'm asking that question because I had a lot of people asking me,
Sure.
is it going to be open? And I know probably all of us in this room knows what's going on there. We see the good work and we see the wonderful potential that building is going to be. But I don't want to see it promoted to everybody because it is a drawing card. And I'll bring to light, I happened to be up there about 2 months ago on a Saturday morning, and I was strictly in there looking at one small little project that I'd been asked to look at, and I was there for probably no more than 10 minutes, and 2 groups of people came in, 3 ladies from Bessemer City and a lady and 4, I'll say teenagers from Gastonia came in, and they heard about the Cherryville Historical Museum and came to see it, and they, so I let them see what was there, which was a little bit, but so there's not only people in town that want to see what you guys have been working on so hard, but there are people all over that want to come and see that. So thank you for the report. And one final question, and that's just there was a question about a lease.
Yes.
Are we in process, or
we are
executed that?
Has not been executed as of this moment. At our last meeting, we did decide to have amongst the board, we called it a work session or a planning session because it would take a lot of time to go over the lease by itself just at a regular board meeting without getting across any other business. So we've got a separate time selected for that, which will be in the very near future, to go over that with all of the board to make sure there's no questions. There's been some minor things that we've looked at, and I've sent some stuff to our city manager, just little things, maybe grammatical or date-wise or things like that, just small things. But we are looking at that, and that will be put together and signed very soon.
Okay, very good. That's all I have. Other council comments, questions?
I just have a comment. Since Gary and I were appointed to be the liaison, I cannot imagine, because I'll have to confess I haven't volunteered my time in that museum. The hours that volunteers have put in to the work in that museum is mind-blowing. And it's, to me, I just think we just have a wonderful group of people that want the best for our museum, and they have got their hands dirty in that place. And Gary has also, and I just want to say I appreciate that so much. They have saved the city so much money and the museum. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Mayor.
Very much so.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I'm going to say, I do want to echo what you said about Sid Strapp. He was an excellent project manager, organized it and got things done, and I'm sorry to see that he's not going to be with us right now. I hope he will come back in the future and volunteer again.
And I think that he will. I think right now he's got some commitments, family wise, that are taking his priority pretty heavily right now. Yeah. And I think he's going to stay in contact with some of the design team on things they have talked about, exhibits. For example, the design team, you've got a group of people that are strictly New Year's shooters. You've got some that are strictly meal, some that are military. So the whole design team's not working on everything together, but you've got a team for each exhibit that will be placed, and working on that and studying the history of everything to make sure everything's accurate and well placed.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
I don't think I'm stepping on your toes. The volunteers up there have been wonderful, but I don't think I'd step on your toes by imploring anyone in the city of Cherryville.
Oh, absolutely.
Like to come up and be a hand and be a part of what's going to be a beautiful, wonderful museum for Cherryville. I'm sure they would gladly take volunteer help. If they
absolutely. We have a rich history. Most all of you know that. And, we will take any of our volunteers. We're proud of our history, and we want it told. And if we don't tell it and share it and have it available, then it will just die and not be available to future generations. So anybody that wants to help, we'll gladly accept.
I think we also should mention Steen Moss's name tonight.
Yes, Steen has, along with Mayor,
carpentry hours.
Very much so, yes. No cost to the museum except any kind of materials and things like that. And we had a wealth of knowledge with Steen doing things like that.
Steen did an incredible job up there, and with his knowledge and immense talent, it was wonderful. Mayor Strapp was merely a gopher for most of those projects.
You held things for me.
Gopher and a holder. Pete, thank you. Please extend our appreciation to the rest of your board and all the volunteers at the museum. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
With that, we'll move on to the city manager report. Mr. Dolphin.
Yes, sir. Mayor, council. First thing I'm going to report on is our CIP plan that, if you remember, a couple of months ago, Jerry Twigg with Burks Environmental came. That CIP plan was adopted. With that CIP plan being adopted, he has now started putting in for grants that we're hopefully going to be able to use towards the funding of those projects. And if you remember, I sent you a list of projects that we will look at trying to get done first. One being like a force main from Ballard Pump Station all the way to town, several sewer lines relined, stuff of that nature. So hopefully with that CIP plan being adopted that we will get a lot of those grants, and I feel like we will, and that we can start those projects soon. And remember, this will be roughly about an 8-year, 10-year period to get them all complete. But it will replace our whole infrastructure system.
Was the parallel water transmission, was it part of that plan?
It is. It is.
The water line is part of that
yes.
plan.
I talked to him about that. It was not included in the original plan, but he said it's fine. He's going ahead and putting in for a grant for the other transmission line from the water plant.
Okay.
And that one would come along Rickway Road.
Rickway, thank you.
We did clarify and include that in our CIP.
Yes,
right?
yes, he's included it already. He didn't need any action to include it. He said he was fine with doing that after he talked to Riesel Wright, our engineer, and he included it in our plan to try to help get grant funding for that as well.
That'd be help.
The other thing is, this week we started our budget process. Actually today we started meeting with department heads, so that will be ongoing for the next couple of weeks. We're sitting down with each individual department head to go over their budgets for the upcoming year. On the front end of it, I don't see the budget jumping or making any drastic changes. It will probably be one of our lower budgets as far as capital improvement items, as far as vehicles or anything like that. We've actually got into a position equipment-wise that we're probably better off now than we've been in a pretty good while. Met with Public Works Director today, Chris King. Equipment-wise, he is in good shape, he feels like. We've actually taken a garbage truck out of the budget this year because he feels like we have 3 that are in good shape. So that will be some of the funds we will roll towards helping pave roads. So, and that's about $275,000 right there in and of itself. So we have 3 working trucks now that we feel like we can go another year with those 3, and we don't need to buy another garbage truck this year. But that'll be upcoming with the other department heads, and we'll keep going through the process and hopefully have you something sometime early April, and then we'll.
That was going to be my question. As a new kid on the block, when should we anticipate our first?
Yeah, I'm hoping by early April, mid-April at the latest, and then we will set our date to where we will present council with a budget. And what I would like to have, I know it's hard sometimes, but if we could have a day that we can meet and start early in the morning, 8 o'clock, and go as long as we need.
For a budget work session.
Yes, sir.
Would that be in April?
Yes. Hopefully that would be in April. And then obviously we would set the public hearing in May, and then have the public hearing in June and vote on the budget. The exciting news is we are scheduled to close on Wednesday for the new police department. So I think everybody is excited about that. Every police officer looks like a kid on Christmas morning. Every time I look out, they're over there at the back door doing something over there at the building. Got a contractor over there looking at giving pricing. So they all seem very excited about getting a new building. I think that is definitely going to be a great decision for the city of Cherryville for years to come. I know the mayor mentioned it earlier. Basketball season did just wrap up. I would say it was definitely another successful season this year with basketball. and Mayor talked about wrestling program. That was very successful. You know, we worked with the high school and Matt Powers with that program, and there's a lot of people, a lot of interest in wrestling in town right now. So those were all great programs, and Lance is looking at trying to do a volleyball program now that wrestling just ended. So hopefully we'll get some support there and have a good program to go forward. The force main at Ballard Pump Station. Bids are due on March the 12th. So this week we should start getting our bids in from contractors for that. We had a pre-bid meeting several weeks ago with Riesel Wright attending, going over everything with the contractors. So hopefully those bids will be in on March the 12th, and we'll be able to award a contract very soon. The other thing is Rutherford Crossing Apartments have started taking tenants. I think we had 4 or 5 come just today to turn on utilities at the apartments. So they have started moving in there at the apartments, and everything is going well. Tomorrow we have a rate committee meeting that Councilwoman Pruitt and Dixie Wall and I will attend in Concord with Electric Cities. So we should get some information tomorrow on if or how much of a rate increase they will be passing on this coming year. And that is about it.
Can I have one more thing?
Yes, sir.
We're having a recreation meeting tomorrow night, and we're going to discuss naming that concession stand after Sandy Cunningham. She served like 30 years with Dixie softball, and so we're going to put forward that to try to get that named after her.
Yes.
We received a request today, and I was just getting ready to bring that up under other business, and I believe that was going to be our first item. So, Council Freeman, do you want to expand on that? And I think we're prepared to go ahead and take action on that tonight.
I'll make a motion if you're ready.
Yeah, and this is for public information. Sandy Cunningham passed away a few months ago after a long battle with cancer. She worked for over 30 years with the Dixie Youth Program down there. And that organization, as Mr. Freeman just said, is requesting that a plaque be installed in her memory and honor, and a concession stand at the Dixie Youth Field be named after her. Is that correct? Is that right?
Yeah, and I read that they've got a concession company coming in to run that concession stand this year for the softball program, so it's going to be hopefully a lot better and improved.
Okay.
I make a motion that we put a plaque on that concession stand honoring Sandy Cunningham for her 30 years of service to Dixie Youth Softball.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? And the only thing I mentioned to Mr. Dalton earlier today is I'm totally in favor of that. I think it's well deserved, and it'll be a great recognition of her service down there. Just that Mr. Dalton have some kind of final say as to the location and approval of the plaque wording, et cetera.
Add that
sort
to
of
the
thing.
motion, for sure.
Yeah, okay.
I will work with Daniel McBride on getting a copy of what they would like to have written on the plaque.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right. Any other questions, discussion? All in favor of that motion? That is unanimous. Continuing with other business, I had a couple things. At the last regular meeting, we talked about the Cherryville gym and the parking lot at night, the lights. Was that looked into further? Have we got a solution? I actually rode over after the last meeting, and it is fairly dark in there, but I certainly understand the need not to disturb neighbors and other folks around the area.
I'll be honest with you. I started thinking about the pickleball court, and I about forgot about the
No,
basketball.
no, just as long as we're looking at that, because it could be a safety hazard at night.
We've had talks about the pickleball court. There not being enough lights out there at Westgate Park, and I got thinking about that, and I've not really thought much else about the basketball.
As long as we're looking at it. And I know it came up at the work session. I saw it on the tape. And I know you said that Gaston County may have other bigger fish to fry and other things to do, but we've got to do something about Academy, Kenwood, Hawthorne Street.
Let me say, I did speak to Miss Lovelace about that as well. Miss Lovelace was speaking to Miss Harvey, who's over facilities with Gaston County Schools. And she said that Miss Harvey is coming to look at the property, and she's going to do everything she can to help provide some cleanup. And I even told her, hey, if you can go in there and just get some stuff cut up where we can deal with it, we'll come by and we'll pick it up in our boom truck.
Yeah, something has to be
We'll
done.
work together on it if they can just get some assistance on it.
Tell her we'll get us send Officer Bennett to meet with them down in Osceola. I mean, we're telling our citizens they have to clean up their properties and have to get up this stuff. Gaston County Schools, that stuff's been there for 2-3 years, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of trees in the field.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That tradition that there was a walking trail there and a picnic shelter.
Oh,
but
yeah.
You can't walk the walking trail anymore, the nature trail anymore.
Trees
We
down
walked
on
that
it.
one. I was down
I
there.
know, it used to be fairly nice.
And my final comment or question, water bid, 150 water bids, are we closer to that even?
We've not put it out for bid yet. I would say he's got to be getting close. He found out that if you're right there at where Tobacco House is located, there's actually a lot of fiber optic cable on that side of the road.
Mm-hmm.
So I think his intentions now are to jump over onto the other side of the road, right there around Dr. Dellinger's office, and get on that side of the road to put this water line in. But he says he's getting close to being able to put it out.
Okay, very good. Council, other business, anything?
I'm good. I'm good.
Oh, I guess, yeah.
So as the ABC board liaison, I know years ago they came to us and they asked to set aside a certain amount of money every month. They saved up $100,000 to put on a new roof. They ended up paying about $60,000 for that roof, and we got $40,000 back. They're talking about doing that again to maybe allow them to put back some money to pave the parking lot area in the next few years. So if we could get that on the work session agenda, I'll have some final numbers for you of what they'd like to look at and how many years, and then we can put it on our next meeting and vote on it then. But we can talk about it more. Like I say, I'll have everything at the work session.
Yeah, I've spoken to Mr. Fraley a lot, and Chad has went down there and patched a lot of places. And we had a contractor go look at possibly resurfacing it like we did at the police department, electric department. But it's too far gone. It needs to be repaved. It's going to have to be repaved. So.
And they're wanting to be proactive and set the money aside, and so it's
That's good.
no-brainer.
Okay, great. Anything else? Did you have something?
No.
Okay,
Good.
I'm sorry. Staff, any other business?
Nothing further from staff.
Anyway, with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you, folks, for staying with us this evening.
You have for us, over?
We have an emergency, code 16, over.
Code 16, malfunctioning smoke detector.
Earplugs, Jane? How bad could it be? This is malarkey!
That's why I called you guys.
It's a defective detector!
Oh, thanks. I got it in Santa Fe.
Pete was right. The detectors were defective.
Oh, it's calm again.
It's important to check your smoke detectors regularly.
A broken detector won't protect you. I'm still yelling, aren't I?
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
We're gonna win the day, people. Sarah, turkey on wheat. Dan, Maddie, can you fix a bad outlet?
Yep.
Honey, presentation about a broken light. On it. Busted ceiling fan.
We'll take care of it.
Great. Jerry, you're on mute.
All set?
Wow, you guys really do everything. Huh? Everything electrical.
Yeah, but you actually do everything.
Aw, thanks.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
I
I foresaw problems with my electricity.
With our preventative maintenance checkup, you can make small changes now to prevent big problems in the future.
You probably already knew that. I did.
She did. All set, your home's electrical future looks bright.
As was foretold by Esmeralda, the Enlightened.
And Maddie, the Powerful.
And Dan.
The?
Just Dan.
Yeah.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Me, Hal Straup and me decided that we wanted to save the depot. Well, it's a big part of history.
Well, I think the railroad is actually basically the upbringing of Cherryville. During the Civil War, this was actually the terminus of the Carolina Central Railroad, because they didn't have enough steel to build all the way down to Rutherfordton.
I told my wife I always wanted to have a model railroad layout. Cherryville had a model railroad club. I went up to the meeting, and I've been coming here twice a week for the last 25 years.